Welcome, everyone, to this virtual candidates forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Lee County and the Alliance for the Arts. I'm Sarah McDonald, president of the League here in Lee County. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization working to build citizen participation in the democratic process. The League never supports or opposes candidates for office or political parties. And a special shout out to Bill Taylor from the Alliance for the Arts for his invaluable assistance in producing these events. I hope you find this virtual forum useful in your decisions about the upcoming elections. Remember, democracy is not a spectator sport.
Welcome. My name is Clara Ann Graham, Director of Voter Services for the League of Women Voters of Lee County. With the efforts of the Voter Service Committee members, we bring educational voting information to empower you, the voter. Remember, voting is people power. Voting initiatives include Vote 411, a voter's guide. Type in your browser VOTE, V-O-T-E 411, and input your address. Voting information specific to you will appear. Another initiative is an election protection hotline for voters having problems voting. Election protection phone number is posted on the Vote 411 site. Lee County Superintendent of Elections website also has voting educational information. This primary candidates forum is hosted by the League of Women Voters of Lee County in partnership with the Alliance for the Arts. In some primary races, the elected candidate will be decided. Consistent with federal law and league policy, no primary forum will be held with less than 2 candidates for each race. No personal attacks or abrasive language will be permitted. No substitutes or stand-ins for candidates will be allowed. For fairness, time limits will be strictly enforced. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their introductory presentation and 2 minutes for their wrap-up, with the first speaker selected at random. Questions have been solicited from League members and the public. Each primary candidate will be allowed 1 minute to answer the question. The League will rotate starting speakers for each question. By participating in the primary forum, candidates consent to the recording of the forum and to its release by the League and its affiliates and representatives. Forum content is the property of the League. No recording of the forum by a primary candidate or their staff is allowed. Rebroadcast of the primary forum must be done in its entirety. Primary candidates must agree that they will not use any portion of the primary forum in any political advertisement. This virtual primary forum will be posted online and accessible 24/7 by the League of Women Voters of Lee County and the Alliance for the Arts. Remember, every vote counts. Happy learning.
Hello, my name is Eileen Conroy. I am the first vice president of the Lead Chapter of the League of Women Voters and your moderator for this forum. We invited all qualified candidates for the Cape Coral District 1 race. And with us today is Mr. William Bill Steinke and Miss Allie Wharton. Carol Ray Culeton was and as well as Jean-Pierre Echeverry was unable to participate in this forum. I will now ask each candidate to make their 2-minute opening statement. We will start with Mr. Steinke. Thank you.
Hi, thanks. I'm Bill Steinke, and I'm proudly running for the District 1 seat for Cape Coral City Council. The reason for my running is I have a strong leadership background, both in education and experience. I've been in our area for a long time, beginning as an infant in 1961, coming here and visiting like many people do, moving here the first time in 1977, and then on and off until permanent in 1998. So the last 24 years, I've been here in business and certainly privy to all those things going on in the Cape. While I'm running for District 1, I've lived in 4 different districts in the Cape over my tenure here in Cape Coral. So I'm fairly well aware of issues that apply to all the areas. And as all registered voters in Cape Coral will vote for all seats, I think it's important that a council person should know the issues that affect the entire Cape, certainly closely to the district that they live in, but to know the entire Cape, I believe, is important too. I've had a background in financial planning. First 16 years of my career, I was a certified financial planner and retired as a vice president for American Express Financial Advisors. So I have a strong financial background. In that process of doing financial planning, real estate is an important component of it. And so the last 11 years of my life, I've been in the real estate industry, both as a realtor, a builder representative, and also as a leader in the real estate organizations, both local, state, and national. So I'm looking forward to serving. I believe I can bring my background and expertise to the citizens of Cape Coral, and I'm looking for your vote. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm Eileen Wharton. Nice to meet you all. I'm also running for City Council District 1. I've lived in this area for almost 3 years now. My family and I moved here. We own a small marine diving company. So that is what brought us to Cape Coral, more canals than anywhere in the world. I work in tech. I held a master's degree in business and an undergrad in marketing. My day job, I used to work for Microsoft Research and Artificial Intelligence as their business manager. I currently serve on the executive leadership team and am the senior director of operations for a veteran-owned federal government company. We process information into the cloud. So I can work anywhere in the country, but we chose Cape Coral. When we moved here about, again, 2.5 years ago, when we bought our home here, one of the first things I looked into was the school districts and the things to do and the community, what we can do for livability. What does it look like to have fun and be a thriving citizen in this community? I first had a thought, I'm not sure if Cape Coral's for me. And then I got to know all of these people here who said, I wish we could do this. I wish Cape Coral had this. I wish they would do things a little bit differently. And I thought, I'm the person that can do that. I have strong leadership skills. My entire job is to bring people together and make things for diverse viewpoints and diverse socioeconomic statuses really prosperous. I believe that Cape Coral is an exceptional place, and I believe that we have a lot of opportunity to make it even better. I think every day I'm out on the water playing, I'm in our community, looking for ways that would make me and my family stay here, and I believe I can bring that to other people too. I'm very excited to be a different candidate. Traditional time and money in politics is what it usually looks like for Cape Coral. I'm just lucky in an early stage that I have that opportunity to serve our community, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Now, the first question, we'll start with Ms. Wharton, and I'll state the question once, and then the time limit's 1 minute, and then we'll proceed to Mr. Steinke. So the first question is, what are your thoughts on urban redevelopment as contrasted with new development projects? Ms. Wharton.
Sure. And I told Eileen earlier, 1 minute's going to be tough. I'm long-winded. But I think we do need a bit different of approach in Cape Coral. I think we can maintain our character that we currently have. We all know and love this Cape Coral. But myself, when I really want to do something, go to a fancy dinner, go catch a show, go to a theater, watch a comedy show, anything, I have to cross the bridge to Fort Myers. I'd really rather spend my money here in our community. And you could do that with things like urban redevelopment. I feel very strongly in mixed use development, incentivizing contractors to bring in amazing, profitable businesses while also building affordable housing. You can do that in multiple different ways. I think we have an opportunity to roll back some of the ordinances from 2008 that don't allow us to build up and use that to our advantage. Cape Coral has really special water views and really incredible, unique opportunities to bring that kind of development in, and I would support that.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke?
Well, great question, and it's certainly one that I'm involved with on a regular basis as a part of my job. The buildings that we have in Cape Coral and the way that land use has proceeded up until now, over the last 60 odd years, there's times to revamp things. And so as we look at the quality of the buildings, and we look at the way that land is being used, we can utilize that land more efficiently and more effectively, both from facelift perspective as far as utility as well. I certainly agree with Allie that mixed use is something that our city is greatly lacking. Most of your great cities across the country use mixed use to allow the commercial businesses to have a footprint in the area and not take away from the opportunity to have affordable, residential housing. Certainly our infrastructure would have to be considered, the roads, our traffic situation, our public safety, but fully in favor in revitalizing what we currently have.
Thank you. So the next question, we'll start with Mr. Steinke, and 1 minute. The question is, what are your plans to protect critical infrastructure in preparation for the next disaster?
Well, certainly our roads, our ability to exit when necessary, our ability to drain water. We put in place ordinances and building codes that required that water could absorb into the land so that we didn't get as much sheet flow, which would then cause more flooding issues. Certainly drainage is important, and our total infrastructure needs to be looked at from the standpoint of traffic control devices. We've not had a traffic study done in 11 years. So certainly our community has grown tremendously, and that ability to move traffic through the area is extremely important. Our public safety, we're very fortunate to be adding 50 new officers to our law enforcement in Cape Coral. Certainly fire, first responders are extremely important as well. So public safety as well as ingress, egress of the city are primary importance.
Thank you. And Ms. Wharton?
It's a great question. And I think a lot of what I'm going to say is going to echo Bill. We know that we live in a floodplain. All of you that own homes in Cape Coral, your flood insurance is going up, and we can see the increase in natural disasters year over year. So we need to prepare. I feel very strongly that we need experts, right? I and the rest of the city council will not be experts in everything, but we can outsource that. So I feel strongly there needs to be a heavy focus on developers and builders who know natural resources and who know the environment specific to Cape Coral. I do agree that one of the biggest challenges we have is our roads and our traffic, right? If we have a natural disaster here, we need to make sure that our residents can exit safely. And that starts with that traffic plan. As Bill mentioned, we haven't had a traffic study in over 11 years. Naples, on the other hand, does things very differently and requires a different threshold. I think we should follow closely behind their lead and say, let's reevaluate where Cape Coral's at to make sure we can all live safely in this community.
Thank you. And we'll now start with Ms. Wharton, and it relates to traffic. What are your priorities for transportation planning?
Cape Coral is very unique, right? It's if I go out right now in the hot 102 degrees in July, the traffic's not so bad, but we know it's very, very different in January. And that's becoming not only a nuisance and driving people away, it's a danger. So for public safety, I think first off, we do need to start with that traffic study. We have to push the community and our government to say, we need that. And from there, we can assess what the most practical plan is. We see that with the mixed use development, we see successful cities use public transportation, rerouting the trolleys, making it a destination, but also including that public transportation can be huge. If you look where the bus stops are, we're in the lightning capital of the country, and there's no cover. There's no cover from rain or from heat. So the folks who are being great citizens and using that public transport are actually at a disadvantage, and it's not a great experience for them. Improving our roads, improving the traffic, and then improving public transportation are all three very important to me.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke?
Sure. Being involved throughout Lee County, I'm involved with and privy to, studies that are done and plans that we have in our future. And I think to get a greater involvement from the county and from the state is important. We do have county roads in Cape Coral, and their participation in our infrastructure here as it relates to roads, I believe has been pretty lacking. So to avail ourselves of some resources that we have not presently, I think is important. Absolutely believe that our public transportation system needs to be enhanced, and certainly protection while waiting for public transportation is important. As we move citizens through the city, if that can be done in a single vehicle with multiple passengers, it cuts down on emissions. It allows for less use of our roads, and so as we look at the buildings that we have and the mixed use buildings, then we absolutely need to have that public transportation.
Thank you. So the next question is to Mr. Steinke first, and it's, what are your thoughts on changing land use and zoning in Cape Coral?
Well, I've had a couple of times when I've expressed how Disney saw Disney World before anybody else did, and as a council, we have to see Cape Coral before anyone else does as well. And so when we look to the future, we've got to realize that the Rosen brothers looked across the river and said, "I'm going to make a water wonderland out of that." But just like Disney said that the storyboards have to change over time, we have to be willing to allow those storyboards to change as well. And so as our city has developed, there are reasons and good ones for addressing land use. The zoning that's required, we've certainly addressed building codes along the way for the safety of our citizens, but we also have to look at protecting the rights of those that are already in place, and the fact that we need commercial growth and that we need to have a workforce that can afford to live here. So I would certainly be in favor of addressing zoning changes, land use changes to better fit our current situation and that we'll see in the future.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Wharton.
And, I think, again, I'm going to echo Bill here. I also agree with that. I think we have not only a responsibility, but in order to be economically successful and to promote longevity of the city, we absolutely have to change. Traditionally, we are a very residential city, a retirement community. As you can see, my 32-year-old self is a full-time working here. I raised my family here, and the influx of citizens that we've had looks different than it did 20 years ago. So our city needs to look different. We can still preserve our wonderful community for the families who started out here, but we can also build up for the future. Future-proof is a word that I use a lot, right? We depend for our residents, our visitors, and our businesses on the nature and on the environment here in Cape Coral. We're on the water. It is beautiful, but in order to attract people here, we need stuff for them to come to. As I mentioned before, I constantly cross the river to go over to Fort Myers to find stuff for myself and my family to do. I would much rather spend my dollars in Cape Coral, and with that becomes we have to invest in those.
Thank you, Mr. Steinke. Where do you stand on the Conservation 2020 program and conservation easements? And thank you.
Well, it's been said that people don't come to Florida for the mountains. And so our ecosystem is fragile, and it's ever so important to the attraction of our area. So to conserve land, to support our wildlife, to play its role in the ecology of our area, our waterways are so important, and every component part of our area interrelates with the other. So to have a conservatory plan where we would not overuse the land that's available to us, and have that available to both the ecosystem that involves our waterway and our river, our streams, and also for the wildlife that depends on that land and on that fragile ecosystem, I think is an extremely strong need for our area, as that's why people come here.
Thank you. And Ms. Wharton?
I'm a strong proponent for conservation, but I think you can do that with sustainable profit, right? You can conserve this environment while still investing in our community. I'll use a really personal example here. When I first moved to Cape Coral, and I've lived all over the country, I drank our water. I didn't know about the water quality issues. And I also gave that water to my dogs. All 3 of my dogs ended up at the vet because our water quality was so poor. It's baffling to me in such a wealthy community that we have issues like that. I think this conservation project can really lend towards the future proofing of our community, allowing our residents to live a happy, healthy life and saving our beautiful environment. My family's business depends on this water being here. The future of Cape Coral and the profitability of builders coming here and investing in our community, we must save our natural resources or else there is no Cape Coral. So I believe strongly that we need to support that.
Thank you. So, Ms. Wharton, the next question is, what plans do you have to make beaches and boat parking more accessible in the face of Lee County's growing population?
Great question. As an avid boater family, it's, I call it, right, the highway out there. I think that we can do a couple of different things. You can, to improve our waterways, first, I think it starts with that environmental access, right? The yacht club is a great place. It's very beautiful. However, I personally would not swim in that water. I think if we can take some steps to improve the water quality, we can attract more folks, and then we can start charging for that. The new parking garage is going to be great, and a couple of dollars to park there will benefit the city. But imagine if we could, like Fort Myers can, attract people to our beaches and have them come and fish, and they could eat the fish out of the water, and it was happy and healthy. Not only would we benefit from a revenue standpoint, our citizens would benefit from a health standpoint.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke, same question.
Well, there's no doubt that one of the main reasons why people come here is their ability to go boating and enjoy our waterways. Certainly everyone has suffered what it takes to get down to Fort Myers Beach. So to have our own Cape Coral Beach is quite a draw. People love to go there, and I think that the rehabilitation project down there in the yacht club is certainly needed after this is the 60th anniversary of the yacht club. So that will help tremendously as far as launching boats and enjoying the waterway. There are certainly public safety is necessary with swim areas being observed. Rosen Park, if you've not been there, gorgeous place to go to launch your boat, store your trailer. Burnt Store, there's a lot of people that like to just go out fishing, and that's a very quick access to one of the greatest fishing areas that we have along the coastline of Florida. So, so to maintain the ability to park and launch boats and enjoy the waterways from the shore is very important.
All right, thank you. Next question, we'll start with Mr. Steinke, is what are your sources of ongoing education that allow you to make informed decisions for the community?
Great question. Easy answer. My connection with the Realtor Association requires me to do that. Being involved in county commission meetings, fair housing issues, all of the funding sources that are available to help people acquire homes in our area is on my plate literally every month. When the continuing education credits are required for my licensure, I tend to choose those classes that will allow me to learn more about our area and be privy to those things that will affect our citizens in a positive way, and be aware of things that could affect them in a negative way. I'm the chair for the state's political action committee that looks at property owner rights, and we as an association support everything that has to do with our residents maintaining their rights and avoiding those things that would take those rights away.
Thank you. And Ms. Wharton, that question?
Yeah, thank you. So I mentioned that I work in tech, and one of those requirements of working in a very fast-moving industry is that you're constantly re-credentialing yourself. So I maintain, for example, a $30 million budget, and I also do all of the compensation reviews for a 200-person company. Those same skill sets apply to the company, to the city, right? I can actually go in and help the city do those compensation reviews. Right now, we're in the Great Resignation. I know that it's a problem to retain staff at the city. It's really, really difficult to make a great working environment and adjust to this new cost of living. I can assist with that, and my career requires that I'm constantly credentialing myself there. And then on a different take, as a citizen with a growing family, my children will attend Lee County Public Schools. It is in my personal best interest, and we own a small business here, to keep up with what we're doing, to attend the school board meetings, to attend the city council meetings, make this a better city for all. So I'm constantly learning for my own benefit and yours.
Thank you. The next question for Ms. Wharton is, what are your plans for any unspent campaign funds?
Great question. I think they're all public record. My campaign, again, I mentioned, is a bit different. I'm not the traditional candidate that has the time and money to donate themselves thousands of dollars, but any leftover funds from my campaign will be donated. The Golisano Children's Hospital is near and dear to my heart. I know it's in Fort Myers, but they do serve our Cape Coral kiddos, and my niece is 2 years old, and she is a special needs. She suffers from something called GNB1, a rare genetic disease, and the team at Golisano is excellent, and they're her caretakers, so any leftover funds will be distributed over there.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke?
Well, it's interesting. I'm similar to Allie in the sense that I haven't developed my own personal war chest for the campaign, and so I do rely upon the donations from citizens and organizations that feel I'm the best fit for the responsibility. So I'm a fiscal conservative. So as I look at the budget required for getting my message out and allowing people to get to know me, and for me to learn what their greatest issues and concerns are, I don't believe there will be that much left. Although, if it is, then the money will go back into Cape Coral. I'm actively involved with Builders Care, an organization that helps people remain in their homes by building ramps, rails, and the such. Also, the Cape Coral Caring Center, supplying food and provisions to those people that need that assistance. Ronald McDonald House, and Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Thank you. Now the next question for Mr. Steinke. Previously, you started to talk about water quality, and this question is, what leadership would you provide to protect water quality and water resources in Cape Coral?
Well, it's the timing couldn't be better. We've taken some great steps, and believe it or not, it takes a long time to get things done that have been happening behind the scenes. I just visited the C-43 reservoir, which is a major component in the effort to not have the releases from Lake Okeechobee sent down the Caloosahatchee or the St. Lucie River for that matter. And that's an amazing project. And so I stay involved in those things. Water quality is a major issue with the organizations that I'm involved with. And so I check in on those efforts that are currently underway to make sure that they're still progressing. As far as future needs and additional things we can do, obviously we've taken the steps that we have with fertilization, and that's an important step that stops the runoff into our canals and our waterways. We've got to be concerned about the growth in the Northwest with septic tanks and wells. So it's those types of things that I'll keep my eye on.
Thank you. Ms. Wharton?
I think this is one of the most pressing issues for us. And my motto is to start small. What can citizens do? Think about your lawn. If you're a gardener in Cape Coral and you're now on the schedule where you have to run your sprinklers at 3 or 4 in the morning, you probably know that's not the best for your plants. But that's a small step, right? We need to conserve this water. There's a different approach you can take. People say it's just one lawn, and Cape Coral is very obsessed with the beautiful green lawn. We all love that. However, it's extraordinarily detrimental to our canals. Every one of us lives on the water. So every time you use pesticides and every time you fertilize your lawn with chemicals, it's directly into our water and then into your body, into the drinking water. One lawn, there's 8 billion lawns across the United States. If we as a city campaigned on a plant natives. Native plants do not require pesticides. They do not require fertilization. They do not require extra water. Really small step that a citizen can take. We can continue those small steps and really make a big difference throughout all of our water community.
Thank you. So we'll start with Ms. Wharton on the next question. What issues would you address with the police department? As an example, do you support civil citations and other diversion programs for juveniles or for adults?
Great question. I think this is an interesting time in history, not just for Cape Coral, but for every police officer out there. These folks are risking their lives and sometimes not getting paid a whole lot of money to do it. So I do support citations for both juveniles and adults. I think the proof is in the pudding for me. I'm very data driven. When we look at the data and statistics for penalizing a juvenile for, say, a traffic stop or a minor infraction, we actually as taxpayers end up paying more money than we would if we gave them a citation and a second chance. I'm all about rehabilitation. I do feel strongly that our police officers need to be in the community with a positive persona. It's beneficial for them and the community. So the very first thing I would do is a marketing take. I think that getting people to know how wonderful the officers in our community are is vitally important to their safety and their success.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke?
Well, with two sons in law enforcement and one in volunteer fire, it's a subject close to my heart. I was raised by a career law enforcement officer, and I served 9 years as a volunteer with the Lee County Sheriff's Department. I mentioned earlier that we're fortunate to have 50 additional officers that we're looking to add to the force here. I think it's extremely important for them to have the time to be involved in the community, and I fully favor a citation program. One of my sons is involved with dealing with having people come to court to have their hearings, and the docket there is overwhelming. And so if we can deal with our citizens on the spot for minor infractions, use it as a learning experience, and have our officers represent our town, and then also have our citizens respect those officers with the respect that they're due, I think it's an important way to go.
Thank you. So the next question, we'll start with Mr. Steinke. What actions will you take to assure quality, safe, clean, attainable housing for city residents?
It's been on my platform even before running for office. When we look at the overall nature of our city, we need workforce. Our businesses need workforce. I've been challenged that we have no problem with workforce because we have 98% employment rate, only 2% unemployment. Well, the trouble is that the 98% that are working aren't enough, and so our businesses are lacking a pool of qualified employees. So we need the housing that they can afford to live where they work. It'll take strains off of our roads, and it will provide our businesses with a greater ability to service our citizens. So those homes can be done through mixed use projects. They can be done by revisiting our building codes and reestablishing where the homes can be built and the sizes of homes that are available. I'm not talking about the mini homes. I'm not talking about Section 8 housing. I'm talking about good quality, affordable homes.
Thank you. Ms. Wharton?
Yeah, I agree. Good quality affordable homes are pivotal right now. You'll see it's about an average of $2,000 a month to rent a home in Cape Coral. If you need to make 3 times the monthly rent, that's about $72,000 a year. The median income in Cape Coral is close to $48,000 or $50,000. Therefore, someone who is a teacher, we know we have a school bus driver shortage. They cannot afford to own a home in Cape Coral. We have to fix that. One of the ways that we can do that is encouraging that mixed use development. We can actually incentivize developers. If you build this beautiful, attractive business in Cape Coral, you also are incentivized and maybe have to pay a fee for affordable housing. What that does is gives them dual opportunity to build something, but also sets aside some opportunities for our citizens. We're seeing inflation right now, right? We know that we need to do something across the country, but Cape Coral in particular, our home values have doubled, which is great. But where are you going to move to? It's very important that the city provides incentives to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next question for Ms. Wharton, and this is the last question, and then we'll proceed to your closing statements. But the question is, what issues would you address with the Cape Coral charter school system?
The charter school system is something I find very unique to Cape Coral. I personally don't support the tax and the electric bill for citizens going to the charter school. 72% of students in Lee County schools are under reading level 2. There are 5 reading levels. That means that 72% of our children are in the bottom 2 of the country. As a mom and a future, my children attending Lee County public schools, I believe that we need to shift over and invest in the public schools and let the charter schools run themselves in a traditional way. I do understand that they are rated well, and I think that's excellent. So we could take the publics from the charter schools, the learning and what they're doing in order for their students to excel, but reallocate those dollars where they're meant to be into public schools.
Thank you. Mr. Steinke?
Well, certainly after raising 4 children here, I'm familiar with the school systems, and one of the most exciting things that I saw with the charter schools coming in, to our area was the fact that it encouraged parental involvement. I became aware not too long ago that there was now a financial ability to escape that personal involvement required. So instead of volunteering in the schools and being close to the children's education, you could, in a sense, buy your way out of it. That was discouraging to me. To put a tax inside of the electric bill for all the citizens of Cape Coral to help fund those charter schools, I don't believe is just. So I believe that the whole charter school system needs to be reevaluated. Certainly changes happen over time. And as we readdress everything, I think the charter school system needs to be addressed as a whole as we move forward.
Thank you. So now we'll proceed to your 2-minute closing statements, starting with Mr. Steinke.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity that was given to me to present today and show on screen with Allie. I really believe that elected officials are nothing other than applicants applying for a job. And so for the public to understand the applicant and to know as much as they can about that applicant is important. I believe that current issues, while that certainly one's position on a current issue is important, I also believe that the acumen and the education and experience of that individual to address future issues that none of us know about today is extremely important as well. I know for me, when I vote, I do research on not just what the candidate feels about certain issues, but also about what their experience is, the job that they have held in the past. For the opportunity to serve the public at large is just that. It is a job. You have to show up. You have to participate. And it's not always as important to have all the answers. It's been said that the person that thinks they know it all know the least. And so it's important to know the right questions to ask. And so I truly believe that this position is one of leadership and governance. And so I believe it's important to call upon those that have the expertise in a particular issue to bring information to the table for us as governing officials to use in decision making. I believe understanding our constituents' needs and their concerns and then addressing those as we move forward is extremely important. And I believe that my background and the leadership that I've been given and the education that I've been afforded is a true blessing for me. And I would like to donate that education experience to the city, and I'm looking forward to your vote.
Thank you. Ms. Wharton, your 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you, Eileen, and thank you, Bill. It's been a pleasure here with you today, so I appreciate the invite. I think I'll focus on things that I want to do for Cape Coral. I want to improve the livability, continual improvement of life for all of us. Focus on our community and then that economic and environmental longevity. I do feel, again, that I am a very unique candidate. You typically don't see someone my age interested in this. It's again, a lot of time and money in politics, and I feel that we have an opportunity to shake that up. I care deeply about this community. We have put our roots here. I want to future-proof it for my family and your family. I do think that I am again, a unique candidate with a master's degree in business, but also a specialty in heart and human beings. I do want to bring our community together in a way that we've never done before. There is there's a certain precedent in Cape Coral where, folks are helping folks that have been around for a long time. I bring a unique new vision. I bring something that is different and I think very valuable. Corporations pay me, enterprise corporations pay a lot of money for my skill set. And like Bill said, I do believe that I can bring that to Cape Coral without you having to pay top dollar for it. I have a lot of passion, motivation. I am a proven leader. I really believe that this community is going to get better, and I believe that I'm the person to help do so. So for District 1, for all of Cape Coral, not just the Cape Coral that's been, the Cape Coral for the future, that's what I'd love to do. So as Allie Wharton, I'd like to see your vote for District 1 this year, and really looking forward to meeting all of you out there.
Thank you. And thank you to each of you for participating in this forum. We appreciate your time and effort. Thank you as well to the Alliance for the Arts for producing and recording this forum. This recording will be posted on YouTube, and links to the recording will be posted on the League of Women Voters Lee County website, www.lwvlee.org, as well as on a resource, vote411.org, and on the Alliance for Arts website. Candidates may share the link, but not parts of the recording. I would like to remind everyone to check the League's voter guide at vote411.org. It's a great resource to check your registration, your precinct, and it will be live July 20th. Candidates were also asked to respond to questions, some of which we didn't ask today, and will be on that resource as well. Again, on behalf of the Lee County chapter of the League of Women Voters, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. Thanks.